8 days.
That many?
Yeah,
Wow.
we started. We had Thursday was the anniversary show. Then we had night 1, 2, 3, skip a day, 4, 5, 6. So 7 shows in the course of 8 days. So it was a good one. So we're gonna go back all the way to the anniversary show and start off there. Um, but overall, what were your thoughts on what we have seen so far in the New Japan Cup? Massive, massive bracket breakers for a lot of people for a lot of these matches.
There have been some very good matches. Sanada and Ishii, I thought was really good. Okada and Shingo. Thought the Naito Budokan match was like surprisingly interesting. I don't know. It's
right. It was like it was not, better than it deserved to be. Right.
Yeah. It's I don't. It's not like a G1 where there's all these great matches every night, but some of these tournament matches have been pretty fun.
Yeah. Hasn't been I kind of missed the G1 format though. 1 undercard match and then like 5 block matches. Whereas here they're doing like I've pretty much skipped all the undercard matches and just gone straight to the cup matches because they're doing like 2, sometimes 3 a night. So it's like 35 minutes of viewing and you can just bang through the days.
Yeah. Not missing anything.
All right, so let's go back to March 4th, 2021. This is the New Japan anniversary, New Japan Pro Wrestling anniversary show, the 49th anniversary. So the big 5-0 next year. So I'm guessing they're going to do a big old event next year, assuming that the world is open by that point, which it's looking decent. At least Japan and the United States are looking decent.
Yeah, for the 40th anniversary, they did like some joint shows with All Japan because All Japan and New Japan formed the same year. Mm-hmm. New Japan formed in March 1972, All Japan in October. So I don't know. There hasn't been a lot of cooperation between promotions this time, but I'm sure. Like, I don't know, man. Just I'm still having such a hard time conceptualizing that there might be a world after COVID, that we might be getting to the back end of this. I'm still having trouble accepting that things might be something resembling normal again in a year. So I don't know what they're going to do for the 50th anniversary.
Well, just shy of 1/3 of the United States population has at least gotten their first dose. So
I got my first last weekend.
Yeah, I got my second about 2 weeks ago. So I have been all set for a couple weeks now. So we start off over in Budokan for that anniversary show. We start off with a 8-man Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr., Doki, Minoru Suzuki versus Hirooki Goto, Master Wato, Tomoaki Honma, Gabriel Kidd. Suzuki-gun attacked before the bell. Honma and Master Wato knocked down Suzuki and hits the Kokeshi. Gabriel, Kidd, and Suzuki throw hands. Kidd then throws hands with Zack Sabre Jr. and knocks Zack Sabre Jr. off the apron. We have a breakdown in the fight. Basically, everybody pairs off with their first round New Japan Cup opponents. Gino was talking about cigars, and he made a cigar that he wants a cigar line named Doki Smokies. Yes. Which was pretty funny. Zack Sabre Jr., Suzuki work over Kidd behind the ref's back. Goto and Taichi pair off. All of Suzuki-gun beat on Goto. Doki puts on the Doki Choki. Honma breaks it up. Wato helps to make some space. Goto hits the GTR on Doki and gets the win. Honma and Suzuki just continue to brawl on the outside post-match. So this was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. Glad to see the Doki Choki. It's been a while.
Yeah, and was there another joke, or was that a different show? There was an... I have to find it now because it was so funny. It was another cigar reference. Oh, it was in the next match, I think. where Gino's like, and I think also Dick Togo wants to make a cigar line too, and I'm like, Dick smokes? I don't want to put one of those in my mouth. Something like that. Kevin Kelly said something really funny along the line. It was pretty good.
Like Dick smokes.
Dick smokes. Jay White, Chase Owens, Taiji Ishimori, Evil Kenta versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, Taguchi, David Finlay, Toa Hanare, Juice Robinson. So Juice went from Blues Brothers to Bozo.
I don't know, what the fuck did Juice do to his hair?
Like, he has a giant fro now, and the pants that him and David Finlay are wearing are like the gesture diamonds on the horizontal instead of the diamonds standing vertical.
And it's even more confusing because they did a set of Impact tapings right before they went back to Japan. So they've been like on Impact every week, and they're challenging Gallows and Anderson for the Impact tag titles on a show that airs tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And it's so like on Impact, there's he's still Blues Brothers, and then he comes out and he's like, what did Juice do to himself? I don't know. I like that he changes it up now and then, and I don't know. I guess I was starting to wonder how much longer are we going to do this Blues Brothers thing. So, yeah, now we have Finn Juice and clown pants.
Yep. Kenta makes use of Juice Robinson's long hair while holding a headlock, and when Juice tried to brush him off and run away, he just grabbed the hair and pulled him right back in. Kenta beats down the entire opposite team. Bullet Club attack Tanahashi's knee. Finlay and Chase have some time together. Finlay blocks Evil's ref-assisted kick. Taguchi gets tagged in, and he hits sends everybody to attack Bullet Club on the outside while he's by himself with Evil, and then he just gets hit with everything is Evil, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. I wrote Taguchi got pinned like a geek.
Yep. And then we have our last multi-man match before we get into some matches with at least a little bit of stakes here. We have Bushi, Shingo Takagi, Sanada versus Kazuchika Okada, Sho, and Tomohiro Ishii. We go through all of the pairings pretty quickly. We settle down into LIJ working over Ishii. Both teams attack back and forth. Everyone kind of gets their shot in. Bushi and Sho together. Sho hits a big lariat. Shock Arrow gets the win. Again, nothing matters there.
Not an entree, but a good sampler plate.
Yeah. All right, then we actually have our first round match.
We had a couple of big announcements about upcoming cards.
Oh, yeah, I skipped through that. They are doing a Tokyo Dome show in May. Yeah, go for it.
May 15th at Yokohama Stadium, Wrestle Grand Slam in Yokohama. And then 2 weeks later, May 29th, Wrestle Grand Slam in Tokyo Dome.
Do you think this is a little wishful thinking?
I know it. No. Well, maybe somewhat, but I think this is just with the big like baseball stadiums, they can get more people in. So, maybe if they get a good card, maybe they can get, 20,000 people or the equivalent of a couple of good like Sumo Hall cards. It's at this point, I think it's just because New Japan, like I talked about last time, they still rely primarily on selling tickets to live shows. And I think it's just let's try something to get as many people through the ticket sales as we can and just get some money into the company coffers.
Yeah, but
so I don't think I know what you're saying, but I think that their expectations aren't as high as maybe you're thinking they are. It's just let's try to sell some tickets. Maybe it hopefully they have a better idea this year than last year with the evil turn that was a popcorn fart, but
Yeah, but I'm more on the question on the COVID situation because vaccination rates are ridiculously low in Japan. I don't know if
Really.
none of the restrictions have been lifted, right?
They are. Kevin Kelly said on one of the shows that, and I don't know what he was basing this on, but he said maybe like another couple of weeks for the state of emergency in Tokyo. Maybe like I think I might have heard like mid or late March, but I don't know. But
That's assuming we don't have a spike. Because I was reading a lot, and Japan surprisingly is a lot more adverse to new vaccines and very skeptical of new vaccines. And I read somewhere like well over like 60% of the population does not want to get the vaccine. It's like could be a problem. So I guess we'll see.
we shall see.
All right, so 2 stadium shows. We still have. Well, we don't really have that long. We only have, like 64 days until that first one.
Yeah, and we've got the rest of the New Japan Cup, and then we've got whatever the Sumo Hall show is, and then Wrestling Dontaku, which will be 2 shows in Fukuoka, and then these 2 stadium shows, and then what's going to happen? I guess we still don't know when Best of the Super Junior is going to start.
I saw Genesis shows being scheduled. I mean, those are going to be at the beginning of April, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's the Sumo Hall, the Sakura Genesis. That's the name of that show.
All right, so we go to the first round of the New Japan Cup. We start off with Great-O-Khan versus Tetsuya Naito in the first round. Naito does some mocking of Khan's pose.
No, we don't. You skipped a match. It was,
sorry. I was just totally scrolled down. Satoshi Kojima and Jeff Cobb actually kicked off the New Japan Cup. They lock up a couple of times. They collide in the middle a few times with neither of them going down until Kojima actually knocks down Cobb. Cobb pops right back up, though, and then trucks Kojima. Cobb hits a drop kick that looked like it got Kojima right in the face. Standing moonsault for a 2 count. Cobb tries to go for Kojima's combo of machine gun chops and throwing the guy out of the corner to go up top but Kojima follows up, ends up hitting a superplex, and then Kojima hits kind of a Shining Wizard, sort of. It was a running knee strike, inside of the thigh type of strike. But yeah, it was kind of like a combo between the two. Cobb catches Kojima trying a cross body to the floor, gives him a few high knees to the body while he's holding him just like across his body, and then just body slams him on the floor. Kojima swipes out Cobb's legs while he's standing on the apron. He crashes to the apron. Kojima hits a DDT on the apron as well. Some forearms and DDT back in the ring from Kojima. Cobb runs Kojima into the corner, and Kojima just fires back with a Koji cutter, hits Brainbuster for a 2 count. Cobb hits a spin cycle, gut wrench suplex for a 2. Kojima escapes a Tour of the Islands, hits a lariat, only gets a 2 count, and then Cobb hits a thrust kick, mocks Kojima, tossing the elbow sleeve. They collide in the middle. Cobb stumbles to the mat. Kojima goes for a running lariat. Cobb catches him, hits Tour of the Islands, gets the victory. Thought this was a perfectly fine match, and I like the little end where he pulled off the sleeve mockingly to Kojima was pretty funny.
Yeah, this was fun. Jeff Cobb was incredible. Shout out to my new favorite nickname. Chris Charlton has dubbed Jeff Cobb the Imperial Unit. Just phenomenal. He threw Kojima around a bunch. It was like Kojima was just overwhelmed by a force of nature. But then Kojima, he got a shot in, got a pretty good clothesline there at the end, but then Cobb just overwhelmed him, hit the Tour of the Islands for the pin. And I realized, okay, it's Cobb versus Evil in round 2, and that is the match that I would be excited for if it was, the old version of Evil.
Yes, exactly. And that is the last match we are going to be covering on this show. We move on to Great-O-Khan versus Tetsuya Naito. This is a bracket breaker for a lot of people, I'm guessing. It's Naito does some mocking of Khan's poses at the beginning. They do a little mat work to start it off. Naito is sent into the barricade on the outside. Khan sits on Naito in the corner mockingly. Naito hits a dropkick and then another leg sweep, wrecking ball dropkick in the corner. The what is it? What are they? The combination that Kevin
combination cabron.
Yeah, neck breaker for a 2 count. Then Khan hits some Mongolian chops, knee to the gut. Khan blocks a swinging DDT and just slams Naito. Naito sells the knee after he hits the mat, so then that is Khan's opening to start attacking the knee. Khan grabs a chair from underneath the ring and hits Naito's knee with it. Red Shoes, of course, is just letting this happen. This is an ongoing thing throughout the rest of this tournament. Khan sets up a chair, gives Naito a knee breaker on the chair. Now Red Shoes decides getting rid of the chair is the thing to do. Naito has to answer a 20 count. Khan goes back to working on the knee once he gets in. Khan lifts Naito for a slam. Naito reverses it into a DDT, and this ends up creating some space. We have some short pull-in elbows from Naito. Diamond Dust for 2. Again, he's using that move once again. He's like, he's dusted it off, and he's using it more often now. Khan blocks Gloria. Khan then eats a couple of pull-in elbows, but then he just slams Naito face first to the mat. Belly to back, overhead suplex to Naito. Naito avoids a couple eliminator attempts and then hits a Destino, but is slow to follow up, and he doesn't even get to go for the cover. He attempts another, but Khan blocks it, hits a few strikes. Khan blocks another Destino attempt, runs Naito over with a lariat, and then Khan works an knee bar. Naito tries to get to the ropes. Khan keeps rolling him out, and then the ref just calls the match. And Khan refuses to let go of the hold, and he tosses the young lions that come to break up, and he stomps on Naito's knee a few more times before it is all over. So Great-O-Khan, by referee stoppage, beats Tetsuya Naito.
This match greatly overachieved. They have just interesting chemistry as opponents. Great-O-Khan sets like a methodical pace when he gets heat, and the way that Naito sells, it just works. I liked this match a lot. By the time it was over, I was like completely satisfied with O-Khan beating Naito, and we've got sort of an ongoing story since Wrestle Kingdom of Naito being in a slump, and you know that this is New Japan, so that'll go somewhere eventually. But he's just been kind of so he's on pretty much like all of the house shows because he's like the most popular guy in the company. He's usually like in the 6 or 8 man, and he's been coming out in his big match entrance attire that he normally like saves for like G1 and Tokyo Dome and stuff. And I don't know. So I feel like he's just these guys, man. Okada too. When they have their big run, it's Okada, since he lost the title, has been in kind of a an Alexander wept for there were no worlds left to conquer. And then Naito just doesn't seem to know what he's doing with himself now.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, though, because you figure, okay, you bounce Naito out of the New Japan Cup at the beginning. This is a perfect time to give him, 3 weeks off so he can heal up, because his knee is actually jacked. He's been working with a bum knee for a while. This figures... This is a great time. Give the dude a few weeks off so he can heal up a bit before we go into whatever our next run is. But the dude still decides, no, I'm going to work 16 days out of 20. Not what I would do.
He and Okada both.
Right.
They're the two that because especially since COVID hit, they kind of mix and match a lot of the guys. Like some guys will be around for one leg of the tour, and then you won't see them again for a while. It's like Okada, Ishii, Goto,
Ibushi,
Sanada, Naito. Yeah, like all those guys are like they are in these tag matches. And they don't do a lot, but they are still in there, like wrestling and taking bumps like every night.
Yeah. It's like you should take some rehab time. Jeez, guys, come on. We're not going to forget about you because you're so giant. Right. You come back in 2 months, we're going to be excited as hell to see you. And if you're feeling better, you're probably going to be more excited too. All right, we move on to the final match of the evening, and this was the junior heavyweight champion against the heavyweight champion. This is a tradition at the anniversary show, but what is not tradition is that the heavyweight champion puts up their championship on the line, and in this case, it's actually the double championship, both the heavyweight and intercontinental championship. This is the last attempt of somebody to be able to take it off of Kota Ibushi before the world heavyweight championship title is takes over the lineage of the heavyweight and intercontinental championships. Kanemaru and Taichi are at ringside for Desperado, but I'll say right now, neither of them interfered, and that was a huge plus for me. I thought this match was excellent. They start off with some feeling out. They go back and forth with some mat work. Ibushi wants Desperado to throw strikes, and he just lets him forearm him over and over and over until Ibushi just hits one kick, dropping Desperado. They do it again with the same outcome, so Desperado changes tactics. He drop kicks the knee, and that is a massive story for the rest of the match. He goes after the knee, numero dos. Desperado hits a Kataro de Angel.
Kataro de Angel.
Yeah, for 2. Ibushi starts firing back with some kicks. Desperado catches and puts on a numero dos. Ibushi to the ropes again. Ibushi gets out of a Pinche Loco attempt. Was trying to set up for a crunchy, but Desperado got out of that. Desperado fires up after getting kicked. And Desperado hits an Olympic slam, then a frog splash off the top for a near fall. It was a bit late of a kick out from Ibushi. That was clearly after what would have been a 3. Ibushi blocks another Pinche Loco. Ibushi hits a kick, jumping knee, and then Desperado hits a desperation right hook and just drops Ibushi. Desperado collapses as well, but is also the first to get up. Ibushi blocks another Pinche Loco and then clobbers Desperado with a lariat. Last ride powerbomb for a 2. Crucifix pin attempt from Desperado for a 2. Desperado avoids a Kamagoye, throws on the numero dos, and tries to lock up both arms in the middle. Ibushi fights one of the arms free. They roll. Ibushi breaks free. He just pops right up, hits a Kamagoye for a 2 count, then he hits another Kamagoye, and Ibushi gets the pin. As they were laying next to each other, Ibushi was definitely saying something to Desperado, but he was kind of covering his mouth with his arm, so it was hard to tell. But Ibushi sits up, taps Desperado on the shoulder. They kind of hold hands, exchange some words. Some good character work out of Taichi here as well. He just had, this expression of watching his friend lose and having like no ill will towards Ibushi over it. That was a interesting silent character work from him.
Yeah, it makes you think about that G1. It was, I think, the last group stage match of the G1 where they just did nothing but kick each other for like 15 minutes. That's just like that forged a special relationship in that time there. I just gotta mention again how much I love Chris Charlton, and it's because he's me, because he's just fucking nerd who loves New Japan. But he's in the position to say the shit. He's doing this whole thing, and he's the line "Desperate times call for desperado measures," and I just Ibushi is making his entrance, and Chris does the spiel about the history of the two championships, and like with his passion for New Japan, it just like gives you chills. I love this match. I love New Japan. It was a match where like I never doubted the result for a second, and I was still into it the whole time because I love the characters and I love the way that characters developed through wrestling. There was a sense of loss because as much as I love Desperado, I couldn't help but think that this was probably supposed to be Hiromu in this position. So someday we got to get a big stage Ibushi versus Hiromu match. But it's wrestling and shit happens, and Desperado ended up in the spot and couldn't have done better. He's like one of the most improved wrestlers of the COVID era. It's like as far as like going from a mid-level junior heavyweight to a superstar. Still a little annoyed that the Kamigoye was so protected for so long, and now just everybody kicks out of it. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
this match was awesome, and if this keeps going on, like Kota Ibushi is going to run away with the Thez Flair Award this year. Right? Like I can't see anybody being in that universe.
Yeah, he's already had amazing matches, and we're only 2 and just shy of a half months in.
It is early March. Jesus.
Freaking nuts. Post-match, Ibushi thanks Desperado for the match, says that there are so many great junior heavyweights out at the moment, and I will accept any challenger at any time. He says he's unifying the titles, and he'll take on all comers. They show Tanahashi. He's looking a bit sad at commentary about the unification. He says he'll unify the championship and bring New Japan to greater heights. And he says, once again, I'll never escape. I'll never run away. I'll never lose. And I'll never betray you. And then post-match conference in the back, Ibushi mentions that the championships are not being retired. They're being unified. He basically says he's sorry for saying Desperado sucks because what he saw tonight, he definitely does not. He talks about the belt's legacies, and they will remain as part of the new belt. While the physical belts may not, the legacies will never go away. It's a continuation of said legacies. As for who's next, anybody's next. I want to fight. I want to wrestle everyone. I want to wrestle anyone or everyone. And he wants the toughest guys out there, and he wants to take that mentality out into the world. Interesting little sentence right at the end. Out into the world.
Yeah, and I think that like it's gonna be. It seems like it's gonna be a theme of this Ibushi just defending the title like all the time, because this is already third defense of the one and fourth defense of the other, and now they're merging, in which I guess the count is going to start over again. So. I think he's going to defend the title at Sakura Genesis, probably one of the nights of Wrestling Dontaku, and probably at both of those baseball stadium shows. Mm-hmm. So, man, it's I think there's going to be some big matches coming up in the next couple of months here.
Most definitely. All right, we move on to the first night, the first actual night of the New Japan Cup, continuing on with first round matches. We had some undercard stuff. I don't think anything of importance really happened. We had Suzuki-gun versus Gabriel Kidd, Tomoaki Honma, and Yuya Uemura. Nothing big. Suzuki kills Uemura with a gotch pile driver. And then again, post-match, Suzuki and Honma are throwing hands once again. And Tsuji actually breaks it up and pulls Suzuki away before he can start swinging a chair. And I'm like, oh my god, Tsuji, you're about to get killed. But Suzuki managed to not kill Tsuji with the chair. So we had Tiger Mask with David Finlay, Yoshihashi, and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Yujiro Takahashi, Chase Owens, Taiji Ishimori, and Evil. It was a nothing match once again. Evil submitted Tiger Mask with the Scorpion Deathlock. And then we had the Empire against Kojima, Wato, and Tenzan. Again, nothing massive here, except for right at the end where Cobb got Wato right into the Tour of the Islands for the win. And then Tenzan and Ospreay are exchanging words after the match. Also, Cobb stayed in the ring to mock Evil to the camera. Evil and Togo hit him from behind and start choking him with the garrote. The rest of the Empire had already walked away, and they're slow to realize what happened. So they're slow to run back to make the save. So that was about it. This is ongoing because, of course, Jeff Cobb is going to face Evil for Evil's first New Japan Cup match because he got a bye being the winner of last year's tournament. So there we have that. At least
they came back, though.
Yes, at least they did come back, but they had walked away and realized that they were man down. So we start off with the first round match of Toru Yano versus Bad Luck Fale. Fale smacks the KOPW championship right out of Yano's hand and breaks it. This thing's got to be like mostly super glue at this point. Yano removes a turnbuckle pad. Yano snaps Fale in the back of the head a few times, or slaps him in the back of the head. Fale runs over Yano, who rolls to the outside. Yano sent him to the barricade a few times. Yano does not want to return to the ring, but he does at 19. Fale stomps on Yano for a bit. Yano tries to pick up Fale for a body slam. I believe this is an ongoing gag between the two of them. Fale runs into the exposed turnbuckle. But he just body slams Yano a couple times. Yano rolls to the outside to avoid an elbow drop, and then Yano tries to throw Fale into the barricade, but he cannot budge Fale at all. But Yano does move out of the way, and Fale sends himself into the barricade. Yano then gets some tape. Fale runs Yano into the ring post, and then Fale tapes Yano's hands around the ring post, so he's basically hugging the ring post. Fale runs into the ring post, and Yano flips his body into the ring, Yano that is, while his hands are still around the ring post, and Fale gets counted out after knocking himself out on the ring post, and Yano wins the match. Fale just stormed off. I figured he would at least beat the crap out of Yano. And then Yano cries about his broken trophy. I think they need to make those things a little bit sturdier. Like, maybe actually cast them out of metal. I mean, brass is not that expensive. Just cast the thing out of brass and call it a day.
I feel like it's sort of, I don't know, part of the New Japan Code of Honor that if you fall victim to Yano bullshit, you kind of got to accept it. But yeah, this was a Yano Fale match.
Yeah, a different finish. I don't think I've seen this finish where he was basically hugging the ring post and Fale knocked himself out with the ring post, and then Yano just slips his body into the ring as much as possible while hugging the ring post. I thought it was pretty funny.
As far as Yano finishes, that was an entertaining one.
And then we have the second match of the night in the New Japan Cup, and this is Taichi versus Hirooki Goto. Zack Sabre Jr. seconds Taichi. Goto is by his lonesome. They burn some time by starting off really slow. I did not expect this type of start from the two of them. It actually dragged on for quite a while. Taichi just tries to choke Goto with his hand. On the outside, Goto is sent into the barricade and then dropped face first on the railing. Then he decides, all right, what's fair is fair, and he chokes Taichi. Red Shoes, like always, is pretty much the most useless ref ever, letting it all happen. And lets Taichi choke Goto across the top of the barricade, then standing on Goto's throat in the ring. and then just blatantly choking Goto over and over and over. Goto eventually makes a bit of a comeback with a spinning kick in the corner and then a running bulldog for a 2 count. They decide to have a running clothesline battle, colliding in the middle a bunch of times until they both go down on the same collision. Once they're back up, they reverse each other a bit. Goto hits a Ushigoroshi reverse GTR for a 2 count. Taichi hits a desperation choke slam but can't follow up. Taichi hits a Saito suplex for a 2 count. And then Taichi hits a powerbomb for a 2 count. We have a lot of back and forth of them countering each other's moves. Taichi hits a high kick to Goto for a 2 count, and then Goto comes back with a GTW for a 2, and then a GTR for the victory. I'm glad because I did not want to see Taichi have the same match over and over and over in this tournament because he has gone down that rabbit hole this past 6 months or so.
The way that I phrased it here in my notes was Taichi was all the way back on his Taichi bullshit.
There you go.
So it took me a while again to get into this, but on the back end, Taichi kind of went into some kind of King's Road trance and was channeling, Kawada and Taue hitting Gamagiris and Nodawa Otoshis, but
once he gets past the formulaic start of the match, then it's fine. But doing the same exact start every time, the excessive choking, it's like, okay. In every other combat sport, if you admonish a guy like 5 times for the same infraction, they get DQ'd. Like, how? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Moving on to night 2 in Tokyo at the Oto Center. Is it the Ota City?
Ota City
General Gymnasium. We have Minoru Suzuki versus Tomoaki Honma in their first round match, and they just slap the shit out of each other to start. Honma hits a body slam, misses a Kakeshi twice. They fight on the outside. Suzuki works Honma's neck, which of course he has history of a broken neck, with the barricade and a cravat, and he gets pushed into the barricade some more. Back in the ring, Suzuki keeps tweaking Honma's neck, and Honma makes a bit of a comeback, hits a DDT and a back suplex for 2, Bulldog Kokeshi for 2. Honma fights out of a gotch pile driver and hits a backdrop. Suzuki gets right back up and just starts kicking and slapping and throwing forearms. Honma slaps Suzuki. Suzuki fires back. Honma headbutts Suzuki in the face, and then Honma starts throwing forearms. Suzuki just puts his hands back behind his back and just takes it. Honma sets Suzuki on the top rope. Suzuki fights. Honma headbutts Suzuki, and he falls to the mat. Hits a diving Kokeshi for a 2. They forearm the crap out of each other. Eventually, Suzuki drops Honma with a strike, hits the gotch pile driver, and gets the victory. Great match from the two 50-year-olds. Or actually, I don't think Honma is even close to 50. I think he's like 43 or something ridiculously young like that.
Yeah, this was exactly the match that you wanted them to have. They just beat the piss out of each other. This was Honma's best match in years.
Yeah, this is the style he has to go because he cannot move very well. So take a cue from Suzuki and just punch and slap the crap out of each other, and you're good to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, Honma is only 44, so he looks much older.
He's had a hard life.
Yes. Then we move on to Juice Robinson versus Kenta in their first round match. Similar to their tag match start of a couple days ago, Kenta pulls on Robinson's hair. Actually, was it the night before? Anyways, they fight on the outside. Kenta crushes Robinson's head in the barricade, which I thought was with the barricade gate. You don't see that one very often. Plenty of underhanded tactics from Kenta. Desperation Spinebuster gives Juice some space. Kenta gets the game over on, but Juice gets to the ropes. Back to the outside they go. They fight by the timekeeper's table. Kenta's head gets bounced off of it. Juice is backdropped over the railing onto the timekeeper's table. Man, this timekeeper has not had a good past few months. He gets knocked over, and I think he needs to, like, you know how they some promote. Oh, I guess even like AEW, at least the timekeepers, you know, a little bit. No, not them. I'm saying like the announcers. He should go sit with the announcers, back away from people. Yeah. Anyways, Kenta tries a crossbody on the apron, and Juice catches him, gives him a Death Valley driver on the floor. Back in the ring, Juice hits a powerbomb for 2. Kenta avoids pulp friction. Kenta hits a draping DDT, but doesn't follow up. Dropkick combo in the corner from Kenta, and Kenta goes up top. Juice avoids the double stomp, hits a leg lariat. We have a double down. We have some reversals from each guy. Juice Robinson hits a juice box for a 2 count, a right hand to the face. Kenta avoids pulp friction, and Kenta puts on the game over, and he gets a tap out victory. So Kenta moves on. And Jay says, poor Abe.
Yeah, this was good. Kenta using the ring bell because he doesn't have the shitty red briefcase anymore. Missed the briefcase. Maybe if he wins the New Japan Cup, can he get a briefcase?
I guess.
But I was happy. I wanted that Kenta Minoru Suzuki match, and that's gonna rule. So I was happy.
Yeah, that is going to be a banger. Once we get like these first round matches out of the way, like the rest of the whole thing is pretty good, except for I don't care about seeing any evil matches, but I'm just going to have to chug through them, I guess.
Yeah.
We move on to what has probably been the best match so far, at least in my opinion. Shingo Takagi versus Kazuchika Okada in the first round. Again, this is going to be a bracket breaker for a lot of people, so lots of testing each other out with some collisions at the beginning. We have some striking, some mat work, running one-legged basement drop kick from Okada to Shingo. Shingo rolls onto the outside, onto the floor where they fight. Shingo sent into the barricade. Okada wanted to hit a DDT on the floor, but Shingo escapes and runs Okada into the barricade. On the ring apron, or he runs him into the ring apron, and then Shingo hits a DDT on the floor. They go back and forth. They're throwing hands. Shingo comes out on the positive side of the striking exchange, and then they reverse each other's moves. Okada goes for a standing money clip, but gets nowhere. Shingo hits a Noshigami, and then Shingo hits a suplex. Back and forth some more. Shingo ducks a Rainmaker. Shingo hits one of his own. And then we more back and forth. No one can really get a clear advantage. And then Shingo hits Last of the Dragon. Gets the victory.
Yeah. This was a high-end New Japan singles match between 2 high-end New Japan talents. Like, it wasn't an incredible match like Shingo versus Tanahashi, but, you know, it was very, very good.
It's still the best given what we've had so far.
Yeah, I was more into Sanada and Ishii for whatever reason.
True. That was a really good match, too. They're kind of neck and neck, I guess, for me.
This was a very high-quality professional wrestling match.
We move on to night 3, March 7th in Yamanashi. Yamanashi. Shingo was cocky doing the Rainmaker pose, Jay says. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Gabriel Kidd. Gabriel Kidd actually has a win over Zack Sabre Jr. prior to him being a young boy, which is kind of funny, while they're in the UK. So the Brits put on a really good match here. Mentions that this is actually Zack Sabre Jr.'s first singles match since the G1. So going back, 5-6 months almost at this point? This was Zack Sabre Jr. This was a Zack Sabre Jr. match all the way. Lots of holds, lots of rolling. Kid looked really good. Did a fine job keeping up with ZSJ. We get some aggression out of Gabriel Kidd later on. He hits some suplexes, gets on a single leg after Zack hit Gabriel in the chest with like 5 up kicks. Kid just like keeps taunting him to kick him in the chest some more. So some great fire from him, great striking exchanges. The Brits really brought it, but in the end, Zack Sabre Jr. submits Gabriel Kidd with some kind of modified triangle choke. It was a weird setup for the triangle choke. I don't think it would work in real life, but
yeah, it was like a triangle to the side.
Yeah.
This was an awesome grappling battle between two great grapplers. Zack was, being a dick, calling him young boy, challenging him to fight back, and then Kid made a nice comeback and got Zack in trouble, but like Zack is Zack, so he was never in like too much danger.
Yeah, which I thought was funny given their history. Him calling him a young boy and all that stuff, even though Gabriel Kidd does have a win over Zack Sabre Jr. Back in like 2017 or so.
See, he's a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was good.
I'm not seeing an age on Gabriel Kidd. Obviously, he is a bit older. Considering that I see his debut here is 2013, I'd probably put him at least 27, 28 years old. So
he debuted at 14. So
oh, really? So I guess he could be in his early 20s.
So yeah, he'd be like 22, 23, I guess.
Alrighty. Good match. We move on to Will Ospreay versus Hiroshi Tenzan. They fight to the outside almost immediately. Ospreay ends up getting backdropped right onto the floor. Ospreay hits a swinging neck breaker when Tenzan's trying to get back into the ring. Back to the outside they go. Tenzan sent into the barricade. Then Ospreay sets Tenzan up on the edge of the ring apron and hits a knee drop right across the back of the head. And then, obviously, stipulations don't mean a whole lot as Tenzan hit a lot of not Mongolian chops to Will Ospreay. Tenzan hits a falling ride down off the top knee drop. That's the best I could call it, because basically he just put his knee in the back of Ospreay, and then they both went down, and he just rode Ospreay's back with his knee buried in his back the whole way.
Yeah, the Ivan Koloff special. Let's call it that.
All right. Brainbuster for a 2 count. Ospreay comes back with a Pip Pip Cheerio for a 2. Brainbuster from Ospreay this time for a 2. Ospreay hits a Spanish Fly in the middle for a 2. Tenzan headbutts Ospreay out of midair for a 2 count. Tenzan puts on the Anaconda Vice. Ospreay gets to the ropes. Ospreay blocks a Tenzan driver. Then Ospreay hits a rolling elbow for 2. Tenzan then hits the Tenzan driver, but Ospreay kicks out, and we go back to the Anaconda Vice, and then they stand up, so Tenzan hits an Anaconda Buster for 2. Tenzan starts to make his way up the turnbuckle until Ospreay catches him, pulls his head in, and hits the Cheeky Nando's kick. Hits a last ride powerbomb in the middle. Tenzan kicks out once again. Oscutter. Tenzan kicks out again. Tenzan avoids a Stormbreaker. Hits a few not Mongolian chops. And then Ospreay blocks another Tenzan driver attempt. Drops Tenzan face first to the mat. And then elbow to the back of the head. And Stormbreaker. Ospreay gets the victory. I thought this was a pretty fun match. I thought it was a solid match out of Tenzan. So,
yeah, I think it was the match that everyone expected. Mm-hmm. Babyface veteran versus, the young heel who was way, way, way above him on the pecking order at this point. The move you described at the finish, it's so Ospreay's new move. It is a rolling elbow to the back of the head. It is called the Chelsea Smile.
All right.
Yeah, you get that, and then Stormbreaker and. Yeah,
interesting why he would call it the Chelsea Smile, because the Chelsea Smile is on your face when they take a knife and cut you from both sides of your lips across your cheek? That's what Chelsea Smile is.
That's actually, I didn't know that. And now that I know that, it's kind of a great name.
Did you ever watch Sons of Anarchy?
No.
Oh, because there's an actor who was in a bar fight. It was like mistaken identity, no less, and they cut him, so now he has those scars permanently, and that's the only reason why I know what it's called.
I don't know how I got these scars.
Yeah. So yes, he usually plays bad guys, or because I mean, if you got scars right across your face, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do. We move on to night 4 in Okoyama, and we start off with Yota Tsuji versus Yuji Nagata. They start off with some rolling. They work some holds. Nagata starts throwing some strikes and kicks. Tsuji makes some space with a drop kick, and then Tsuji hits a body slam, running senton, and then a splash for a 2 count. Nagata fires back with a running boot, butterfly suplex for a 2. Tsuji tries a Boston Crab. Nagata rolls out of it, puts on a crossface. Tsuji bites the thumb to get out of the crossface, which I thought was great. Nagata hits a few forearms to the back of the head. We have an exchange of pins. And then Tsuji tries a few more roll-up attempts. He hits a spear in the middle for a 2 count. They stand and trade forearms. Nagata catches a strike, hits an exploder. And then Tsuji hits 3 hard slaps to the face, but Nagata hits a high-angle Saito suplex and gets the pin over the young lion. Still, again, Tsuji is great. This whole class of young lions, Kid, Tsuji, and Uemura, solid guys.
Yeah, again, what you'd expect, and you could have had an upset here. We did not. They teased Tsuji winning with the Boston Crab, but then kind of got the ropes and got the backdrop hold and won. And yeah, man, we need the world to get back to normal so these guys can go on excursion.
I know he wants to go to Mexico, but
yeah.
I don't. Well, one, Mexico is definitely the last place you're gonna want to go as anybody, but I want to see him more in like Britain to get kind of more of that, because I think that type of style, the British style, would definitely do him solid.
We never talked about unlike the Road to Castle Attack. We had the debut of a new young lion. His name is Yuto Nakashima. He was wrestling Uemura. It was his first match, and then in like 20 seconds,
he got injured.
He dislocated his elbow.
Yeah. That's such a bummer.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, just on the subject of young lions, that's where since we didn't update, that's poor Yuto Nakashima.
Yeah, because all 3 of these guys are pretty much ready to get let loose into the world. So we're gonna have a new class coming up soon. So
yeah. Not to mention Clark Connors.
Mm-hmm. Clark Connors, and then of course we had Carl Fredericks. Is basically he's set to go whenever the world opens up.
Yeah, Carl Fredericks has graduated. Alex Coughlin, I think he was out for an injury for a while, but he's back now. And then we have Kevin Knight and the DKC.
Yeah, Alex, when I saw them, I think it was Alex and Gabriel who had a match in the opening match of the show, and it was excellent. So we move on to your favorite match of so far, and but again, I'll put this right at the level. I'll tie it up. I'll say it's just as good. This is Tomohiro Ishii versus Sanada. They start off with a lot of rolling and exchanging of some holds, and I'm like, this is a little different out of Ishii. But then they go into the striking exchange, which is not a good idea on Sanada's part, because Ishii just drops Sanada every time they get into a striking exchange. Ishii drops Sanada with a shoulder tackle. Ishii begs for more strikes from Sanada over and over, and then he just throws one shot and drops Sanada. Ishii beats the crap out of Sanada in the corner. The ref tries to come in to break it up, and he pushes down the ref. And even though I like Ishii, that should be a DQ. Sanada comes back with some strikes of his own. Actually knocks down Ishii with a couple after 2 uppercuts. Sanada himself pushes the ref down and lays in some more strikes while Ishii is on the ground. He just drops to the ground, grabs the mount, and just starts pummeling. Ishii no-sells a back suplex. Sanada then no-sells a back suplex, and then no-sells a second back suplex. Sanada hits a shotgun drop kick, and then both guys stay down, and they're slow to get up. Ishii comes back with some suplexes, and then he suplexes Sanada into the turnbuckle. Ishii hits a delayed superplex, a delayed vertical superplex, which was just awesome. Sanada hits a drop kick to the face, works a skull end, but Ishii gets out. He blocks a TKO attempt. Ishii drops Sanada with a forearm. Ishii hits a powerbomb with a high stack for a 2. Ishii drops Sanada with a couple lariats for a 2. Sanada then hits the TKO, but he is just wiped and cannot follow up. Ishii pops right back up after getting hit with a springboard missile dropkick, and Sanada locks on the skull end on the ground with the hooks in, and I wrote, if he lets this go to go for a moonsault, I'm going to freak out. He does not, because Ishii manages to get to the ropes. Sanada hits a hanging, twisting neck breaker for 2. Tiger suplex from Sanada for a 2. And then Sanada hits a moonsault to the back, but misses the one to the front. They go back and forth, reversing each other's moves. Ishii hits the sliding lariat for a 2 count. Bunch more reversals. Sanada tries a leg roll clutch for 2. And then they go back to throwing hands. Ishii drops Sanada with a headbutt, but Sanada pops back up and hits a pop-up TKO. And then Sanada hits a moonsault and gets the pinfall victory over Ishii. Fun match.
Yeah, this was good. Sanada's speed and technique versus Ishii's, violence and sheer tyranny of will. So they went hard in a very exciting match. And yeah.
Again, another match I'm bummed that one of them had to leave.
Yeah, that's kind of... I love both of these guys, and I would rather see them on, different sides of the bracket, but it's a New Japan Cup, it's a single elimination tournament,
but I mean, again, we talked about looking at the brackets is like it is a stacked bracket this year, so we're gonna have plenty of these matches, and we had this one, we had Shingo Okada. It's like, well, I don't want either of them to get knocked out in the first round, but one of them has to, and then here Ishii and Sanada, same thing.
Yeah, and so we got Nagata and Sanada in a singles match on the last tours, when one of those shows that Naito missed due to injury, and now so we're getting that again in the surely no way Nagata's going to pull the upset there, but he did. It's Yuji Nagata, you never know. But I think I can't remember the brackets offhand, but I was kind of looking, and they're on the same side of the bracket. I hope there's a Sanada Will Ospreay match in there, because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think both of them are in the split, so they'd have to meet at the semifinals if that were the case.
Okay.
I think Sanada was all the way at the bottom side of the right side, and Will Ospreay was up at the top, so they'd have to meet at the semifinals if it gets there. To have that match. So
the Sanada Nagata winner will face the Jay White Tanahashi.
Yeah.
Jay White versus Sanada sounds awesome too.
Did you see Jay White making fun of Tanahashi's gut after their tag match on yesterday?
I saw him draw attention to it before, and Kevin Kelly said he's in a bulking phase.
It was really funny because Jay White, has like an 8-pack, and he just breathed in and just like poop. scrunched down to make as much of a Buddha belly as he could. and he's like, look, this is you. And then he stands up straight and it goes back to like 8-pack. It's really funny. All right, we move on to night 5 in Kyoto, and we have the first round matches starting off with Chase Owens and David Finlay. A lot of mat work to start off with these guys. Lots of back and forth. Kevin's dog makes an appearance on commentary. More back and forth. Chase distracts the ref by pulling up the mats on the outside, but it was just a ruse to smash Finlay in the face with the Texas title belt. But Finlay kicks out at 2. Owens fires back with some strikes, hits a Shining Wizard, and then lifts Finlay up for the package pile driver, but Finlay flips out and pins Chase Owens with a roll-up for the victory.
Yeah, this was good. These guys are both really good wrestlers. And
yeah, I'm a big fan of both of these guys. I mean, they're just like solid. Every match is just solid. I mean, they're not like, it's not like tremendous seeing the matches, but they're solid every time.
Yeah, and so he's got the winner of Yujiro Yoshihashi in the next round. So I think he might go maybe because Kevin kind of teased maybe Finlay versus Jay White in there, that because they've got they were the dojo classmates, so they have that kind of eternal rivalry going. Yeah, David Finlay is so good, and it's cool to see him getting to do a little run in here.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We have Yoshihashi versus Yujiro Takahashi. They fight to the outside pretty much immediately. Yujiro hits Yoshihashi with his walking stick twice in front of the ref, and Kevin Kelly has to cover but gives, of course, stupid excuses, and it's a real bummer. Yujiro in control for quite some time until Yoshihashi starts to make a bit of a comeback. They exchange strikes until we get a double down. Yujiro hits an Olympic slam and sets Yoshihashi up on the top turnbuckle and hits a super fisherman's buster and then another fisherman buster in the middle for a 2 count. Yujiro blocks Karma and hits Yoshihashi with a swinging slam for a 2 count. Yoshihashi avoids a pimp juice. He just shrugs him off, and he hits a dragon suplex, a massive lariat from Yoshihashi, but only gets a 2 count. Yujiro blocks Karma once again. Neckbreaker from Yoshihashi. He goes up top, hits the swanton for a 2 count. Yujiro was way late on kicking out. And Yoshihashi goes right into a butterfly lock. Yujiro tries to roll, but Yoshihashi pops up, pulls him right into Karma, and gets the victory. Good stuff.
Yeah. So hold on. I think I scrolled the wrong spot in my notes. So yeah, a year ago, Yujiro kind of might have been like a favorite against Yoshihashi, but now Yoshihashi has surpassed Yujiro. But Yujiro, cheated a bunch to level the playing field. But Yoshihashi was 0-3 against Yujiro going in, but the story of this was pretty much that Yoshihashi is better than Yujiro now, and he was, and it was a nice little match.
Yeah, Yoshihashi definitely kind of like the past year has been Yoshihashi's time going back to the New Japan Cup last year, basically, is when he started to really click at that point.
Yeah. Kevin kind of did a little rundown of last year. There was he thought he had blown his knee out, but it just kind of, he got lucky, narrowly avoided injury, and kind of gave him a boost in confidence. And he's just been on the rise ever since.
Then we move on to the final match of the evening, and this is Toa Henare versus Jay White. Jay White makes some poor choices when trying to strike with Toa, and he pays for it many times. White does eventually turn things around when they're fighting on the outside, running Toa into the barricade. White works a cloverleaf back in the ring and is really slow to let go of it after the ref is trying to, after he gets to the ropes and ref is trying to get him to release it. Toa uses his power and whips White into the corner hard, and I think White might have actually tripped going into the corner because he hit low on the pad, like he shoulder blocked the pad between the right in the middle turnbuckle, basically. I don't know if you noticed that, if it was a trip or he meant to actually just drop. I don't know. Bunch of reversals until White hits a DDT, Blade Buster for a 2 count. White still hasn't learned he should not stand and trade with Henare, and Henare just drops White with a forearm. White hits a deadlift German suplex, Uranagi, and then after that he just unceremoniously rolls Toa out of the ring to the floor, yelling, "This is my fucking ring," and tells the ref to count. Henare gets back in, but White just pushes him back out again to start the count, and Henare comes in again, and White just kind of kicks him out with his foot. But this time he goes on the outside to follow him, runs Henare into the barricade a few times, rolls Henare back into the ring, hits a Kiwi Crusher for a 2 count. Henare fires up, hits a lariat coming out of the corner, Samoan drop, another running lariat, and he gets a 2 count. Back to strikes again, and Toa Henare comes out on the positive side of things. Once again, he hits a running spear for a 2 count, and then he hits a Toa bottom, and Jay White kicks out of the Toa bottom. And Goto gets up onto the apron, but Toa decks him. White tries to take advantage, but Henare hits him with a driving tackle out of the corner for a 2 count. But Jay White comes back, hits a sleeper suplex, and then hits Blade Runner and gets the victory.
Yeah, this was good. It was a mismatch. The result was never in doubt. Henare still hasn't had like a really significant singles win, so he maybe ought to get one kind of soon. But he put up a good fight, but you knew the whole time the finish was going to be Blade Runner 1, 2, 3, and that was the finish.
Yeah, I really like this match. Jay White sells so good. He is such a good seller, and that's what makes him a really good heel, because he always kind of looks like he's in peril and makes really dumb decisions, with like standing and trading with Toa Henare on like 4 separate occasions where he doesn't come out on the right side of the ledger any of the times.
He reminds me of Shawn Michaels in the way, like heel Shawn Michaels, in the way that he's just such a fantastic prick that like he's easy to hate. So after the match, they had thing with the title. Like, just do the thing with the titles and shut up about it, please. Because now the deal is that Jay White wants to win the unified title so he can then ununify the titles. Why?
Just shut up at this point. It's not a storyline anymore, and call it a day. Yeah,
seriously. Like I don't think that there was this much bullshit involved when they unified the Triple Crown in 1988.
Yeah, let's just call it a day. Some people are mad, some people are fine with it. Just let's stop pouring salt into the wound. It's a done deal. Just call it a day.
Just let it happen.
Yeah,
just let it happen. Hey.
This is like AEW after Wednesday. Don't mention the failed explosion ever again and move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We move on to night 6, which was last night or yesterday, and quick on the English commentary. Big thumbs up on them getting the commentary up quickly on this tournament. There were some days on the G1 we were waiting like 72 hours, but this was under 24 hours by the time they got it up. So happy about that. So this is the first round 2 matches. We start off with a Great Okan versus Toriano. I have never wanted Toriano to win a match in my life so badly. It was great. They yell at each other. Sadly, Chris Charlton was not on the commentary because this probably would have been way more entertaining if we had the commentary, because I don't speak Japanese and I'm sure they're yelling pretty funny stuff at each other because it was a lot of dialogue between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yano rolled out of the ring. He grabs a roll of tape, and Khan willingly allows Yano to tape his hands behind his back. Just watching it was a very poor tape job, though. Khan also allows him to remove a turnbuckle pad. He takes a swing at Khan. Khan ducks it. And it was like the Orange Cassidy spot with his hands in his pocket, missing that, ducking that first swing. And then he just hulks up and breaks the tape. It's like, well, there was like one wrap of tape, so it wasn't much to break. Yano rolls to the outside. This is where I wrote, it'd probably be more entertaining if I could speak Japanese. Khan lays down in the middle of the ring. Yano timidly makes his way back into the ring. And it looked like he was just going to try to go for a pin, but he's like, nope, screw this. I'm going to start stomping on him. So he stomps on him, but Khan catches one of the stomps, puts on the heel hook. And then I wrote, Yano should be proud because Khan put on his big match parachute pants for him.
Yeah.
Khan takes Yano's chair that was set up in the corner, sets it up in the middle of the ring, and sits in it. And then Yano he steals the chair from commentary and he brings it out onto the ramp or the entrance area, and he sits down, and they're just yelling at each other as the count starts. Khan calls for the KOPW trophy. Gabriel Kidd does his bidding and gives it to him off the timekeeper table. What the hell? Come on, Gabriel. Why did you do that?
maybe the Empire was trying to recruit the wrong young lion.
This gets Yano to come back into the ring, so Khan does not break the trophy. Khan gives Yano a gut wrench suplex. He works a head and arm choke. Yano gets sent into the exposed turnbuckle, and then Yano hits a few offensive moves, but Khan gets catapulted into the turnbuckle for a 2 count. Khan hits a boot to the face, some Mongolian chops. Khan puts on the claw, but Yano puts on the claw and tries to pin Yano, but Yano kicks out of that. Yano low bridges Khan to the outside, and Khan falls against the barricade, and Yano ties his ponytail to the top of the barricade. Khan had a pair of scissors in his boot, and he looks like he's going to cry after he had to cut himself free. And Khan takes a stabbing swing at Yano with the scissors, who was hiding behind the ref. So as the ref moved out of the way to avoid said shot as well, Yano hits a low blow, hits a spear, and then hits the spear into the back, and then puts on the roll up, and Yano gets the victory, and Great-O-Khan is eliminated from the cup. And so Naito loses to Great-O-Khan, and then it's freaking Yano that knocks Great-O-Khan out of the tournament.
His finish was phenomenal. He cut his own ponytail, and he was so sad about it. And then he came at Yano with fucking scissors, and he still got pinned via Yano bullshit. It was like so funny and sad, but like mostly funny for the Great-O-Khan.
And then after the Great-O-Khan goes out to retrieve the knot that was still tied to the top of the barricade, he undid it and carried it away with him. I wish it was a knot closer to his head so he'd have cut off like the whole thing. All right, moving on to Jeff Cobb versus Evil. I really don't want to have to watch this match.
I was trying to figure out why I had such a hard time caring about it, and then I remembered that it was an Evil singles match.
Togo distracts immediately. The first thing that happens in this match, Togo distracts, And we have a little bit of offense coming from Cobb, but then we go into every Evil match for the past year until they get to the ref-assisted kick spot where Cobb blocked it and tossed Evil with an overhead suplex. And then he gets a superplex off the top rope. Evil makes a comeback, works a Scorpion Deathlock, hits Darkness Falls for a 2 count. Cobb blocks and everything is Evil, and stopped himself getting run into the exposed turnbuckle. Not sure when that happened, but that happens in every Evil match when Dick Togo removes a turnbuckle pad while Evil is doing his other bullshit. Cobb drops Evil with a thrust kick and then a running power slam. Cobb gets pushed into Togo, but he blocks the garrote and hits a release German suplex standing moonsault for a 2 count. Cobb hits a spin cycle, but while he was doing this, Evil grabs the ref by the shirt, so he gets tossed to the ground and out of the ring. Cobb blocks a low blow attempt, hits a splash in the corner, sets Evil up on the top rope. Dick Togo comes in from behind to choke Cobb. Cobb then does a double power slam to both Evil and Dick Togo at the same time, which was pretty awesome. And then we have Cobb hitting a gut wrench power bomb for a 2. Evil rakes the eyes, hits a lariat, and we have a double down. Cobb moves out of Evil's way when Evil was charging at him in the corner. Evil goes chest first into the exposed turnbuckle. Yujiro, who was on commentary, jumps off of commentary, distracts the ref. Evil hits a low blow, hits everything as Evil, and it's all over. Yeah, I didn't really need to see the match.
Fucking Yujiro. Yeah, the best part of the last show was the Yano and Greedo Khan finish.
Yes, that was good.
Probably my favorite match on that show, just looking at was the opener with Yoshihashi and Ishii against Finley and Yoda-Tsuji. That match was better than either of the cup matches.
So yeah, I mean, so far, pretty much the chaff has been sifted out of the New Japan Cup at this point. I mean, Yano's still in, but other than that, there's really not much left. So it should be all smooth sailing from here because Khan is gone, and at least Yano. Who's Yano up against next?
Is it Evil? Is it Yano versus Evil?
No, because Yano's at the top of the list. Oh no, so is Evil. So yeah, it could be Yano versus Evil next. No, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have the brackets in front of me.
We're so bad at having these brackets.
I know. I should paste them in my.
We should.
Jay says Evil and Yano next.
Okay, that's last year's bracket. Thanks.
So yeah, it should be an interesting the rest of the tournament, and I'm looking forward to it. And man, they're just kind of. I'm glad that they're kind of putting 2 on a show because then I can just watch the two matches. But it would not be very fun for being live at some of these shows. It's like I get 2 good matches and then a lot of crap or filler, I guess. But I mean, I guess it's
these are better than average house shows.
True, that is it.
At least we're getting a couple of singles matches on every show.
Do you have the schedule in front of you?
I don't. I still have not. Hold on. I'll have it in 1 second. I think we were off today.
Correct. Yes.
And we are picking back up
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We have shows, and then Thursday, Friday. No Friday. So we have a Thursday show with another skip. And then Saturday, Sunday. So again, we have a lot of shows coming up starting tomorrow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shows between now and next Thursday. So got a lot. So maybe we can hit this again on Friday night, maybe Saturday night. And then we'll pick up the finals probably on Tuesday-ish after that. So we'll see how that goes.
We shall see.
Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up this evening?
A fucking explosion.
You want to talk a little AEW? Because I haven't talked much AEW with you.
I know you guys did a whole thing, but it was. I watched it like a day later, and I'm just like, okay, it's like that's not my kind of match. But it, they did a very, very strong match, and then they were, building up to the big explosion, and it was so good. The whole thing with Eddie Kingston coming out to protect his friend was so good, and then it was like. Somebody posted on I think Reddit or Twitter that Tony Khan should hire the explosions guy from Wrestling Society X.
I don't get the joke. What's the joke?
Okay. Do you remember? You don't remember Wrestling Society X? Okay, about 16 years ago, it was on MTV, Wrestling Society X, and there was weird fireworks and explosions and shit, and sometimes there were piranhas, and X-Pac and Vampiro were there, along with fucking Colt Cabana and Jack Evans. And this was a long time. I'll have to. I've got some tape to send you, but it
was probably while I had stopped watching. That's probably the years I was no longer watching. It was around 2004 through 2016 is kind of when I was no longer watching.
Yeah. It was this taped show on MTV, and they had explosions that were just fucking bananas because it was a taped show. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, whoever posted that on Reddit, I saw it and appreciated it, even if some people don't just remember the minutia of obscure 2000s wrestling promotions. I do, and I see you, and I tip my hat.
I think kind of the biggest criticism at this point was Tony Khan's handling it on the legit media scrum by going kayfabe on the legit media scrum. What he should have said is, we screwed up and now we need to fix it. Come back to watch on Wednesday and we'll deal with it. But instead he gave a kayfabe answer on a legit scrum, which was probably not the way you want to go.
That actually hit super hard for me. Just deny and never mention it again.
Right.
Which they did what they did on Wednesday, and it was no.
It was about the cleanup as they could do. That's kind of they actually did what I thought what I offered on the review show of Revolution. I thought, hey, this is probably the way they're going to go. Eddie Kingston's going to talk about having a panic attack or something like that, and then Don Callis, Kenny Omega are going to talk about that. Oh, we meant that to happen, sort of.
Yeah, and
without taking
and I think with Moxley out of the title picture, that this would be an awesome time to do a Moxley and Eddie Kingston tag run, and then so we've got that match with them against the Good Brothers next week, so that'll be cool. I guess they have announced Kenny Omega and Rich Swann for the Impact and AEW titles for the Impact pay-per-view
at the end of April.
And then who the fuck knows what
it's belt collector
what
time.
The direction what the direction is going to be for Double or Nothing.
Now I want, with Kota Ibushi saying he wants to take this out into the world, that he becomes a belt collector as well, and then we have belt collector versus belt collector. That would be awesome.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, I was trying to think. So he's got the AEW title, the AAA title, the Impact title. I was trying to think of what other titles he could win.
NWA title.
Oh, so the idea, obviously, it's not what happened. But somebody was talking about the possibility of Nick Aldis in AEW. They were speculating about the the Fourth Horseman thing. But then I was actually pleased because I think I said back in September, back when you and I were doing the AEW shows and MJF first talking about joining a faction, I said then MJF, Spears, and FTR are managed by Tully. So I think that's going to be interesting. I wonder what name is going to be. But back to the original point, I guess the NWA is restarting up. They're about to run some stuff. But
yep.
I wish, like, Nick Aldis is too good to not be doing more in this wrestling market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. It's an interesting time, especially with all the cross promotion and with things starting to open up, and we should be pretty decent by the end of the year. So yeah,
here's hoping.
Here's hoping at least maybe one or two AEW guys can get into the G1 this year, because they're doing it at the end of the year again, right?
Yeah. So here is hoping that we are going in the direction of normalcy.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in and watching and listening to That's Wrestling. If you are listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live over on YouTube and on Twitch. So follow the links in the show notes for that. If you're watching us on Twitch and YouTube, you can snag this as a podcast on all your favorite podcast apps, and head over to your favorite podcast app. Drop us a review. Really helps us out in the search results. There is a link in the show notes to our Discord server. You can come hang out with us. There's always people there talking wrestling. Comments, questions, feedback, you can send those to Eric at that'swrestling.com. Follow us on Twitter at that'swrestling1 with the number 1 at the end. We have been trying to up our Twitter game a little bit, but we can only do so much. So for Trae Wisecarver, my name is Eric LaRoche, and you have been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.
Bye.